Hey everyone, this is summer book haul video number 3, and these are books that I swapped out in some way. So I'm going to be starting with books that I found at a few local-ish little free libraries. If you're not familiar with Little Free Library, I will put the website down below. Basically, it's this really cool thing where people set up a little almost mailbox looking thing in their yard, or went to one that was near a business, we went to one that was near a park, and then we went to one that was in someone's front yard. So it's really cool. The point is that you can take some books from there and keep them for free. You can borrow them and return them. You can swap for books that you don't want anymore. Sometimes we did have some books to swap out, so we passed along books that we were no longer interested in, and I took my daughters with me. That's why I'm saying we. And so these are the books that we found that we were interested in. The Rumpelstiltskin Problem by Vivian Vanda Velde. This has 6 alternative versions of Rumpelstiltskin, and it just sounded like a fun book I can possibly read with my 9-year-old or by myself if she doesn't end up interested in it, just because I'm interested in retellings. I got a new copy or a newer, nicer copy of Charlotte's Web. It's still, it's still an older copy, and it has a little, but I don't think I even own the last copy that we had anymore, but it was really used, yellowed, like pages were starting to crumble condition. This is still an old copy, but it's not as yellowed. The pages are still firmly in there, and it just has one rip in the cover, and it's not all yellowed and yucky. So I picked that up because I love Charlotte's Web. I read it to my 2 older children when they were young, but my 9-year-old was probably like 2 or 3, so I would like to read it to her at some point, or she can read it herself. She is reading at a lower level, so she couldn't read it to herself at this point, but she can read it to herself in the future if she would like. Then I found a copy of The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, which I'm really excited about because I know this is like Lala's favorite series ever, and I'm just extremely curious. She was really surprised to find this, but American-Born Chinese, which is a graphic novel by Jean Wen Yang. And again, I've heard great things about this, and I'm really, really happy to have a copy. In Jersey by Gerald Tomlinson. I am a true crime fan. I am from New Jersey, and so I'm really interested in this. This is famous New Jersey cases, all front page news in their day, presented colorfully and concisely in this illustrated look at homicide in the Garden State. I really find true crime fascinating. History of it. I grew up on mysteries and unsolved mysteries, and America's Most Wanted, and yeah, so I just love stuff like this, and I'm hoping that some of these will be familiar stories that maybe I can learn more about, and new stories as well. Another little free library, I found this arc of Reawakened by Colleen Houck. This is from 2015, and it's like a fantasy, or maybe an urban fantasy. When 17-year-old Liliana Young enters the Metropolitan Museum of Art one morning during spring break, the last thing she expects to find is a live Egyptian prince with godlike powers who has been reawakened after 1,000 years of mummification, and she really can't imagine being chosen to aid him in a quest that will lead them across the globe. But fate has taken hold of Lily, and she, along with her son Prince Iman, must travel to the Valley of the Kings, raise his brothers, and stop an evil shape-shifting god named Seth from taking over the world. Battling a centuries-old prophecy, ancient gods, and mythical creatures is no small task, even for a New Yorker. So I guess that might be urban fantasy. I don't really know much about urban fantasy. So if you're familiar with this book, let me know what you thought of it. Alaska by James Michener. I have not read any of his books. I think I either have Alaska or Texas or another one, or maybe Hawaii, on Kindle that I got for free or 99 cents. So I don't know. It's huge. I just couldn't pass it up. I've really been wanting to try these books. So we'll see when I get to it. Books I'll be sharing are books that I swapped for on bookmooch.com, and I always have that linked below. I have found 9 books from Bookmooch over the last few months. I have Papillon by Henri Charrière. So it says, condemned for murder he has not committed, Henri Charrière, nicknamed Papillon, was sent to the penal colony of French Guinea. 42 days after his arrival, he made his first break, traveling 1,000 grueling miles in an open boat. Recaptured, he suffered solitary confinement and was sent eventually to Devil's Island, a hellhole of disease and brutality. No one has ever escaped from this notorious prison. No one until Papillon took to the shark-infested sea, supported only by a makeshift coconut sack raft. In 13 years, he made 9 daring escapes, living through many fantastic adventures while on the run, including a sojourn with South American Indians whose women Papillon found welcomely free of European restraints. Papillon is filled with tension, adventure, and high excitement. It is also one of the most vivid stories of human endurance ever written. Now, I don't know where I heard about this book because I don't know where I heard about it. I've never heard of it since, I don't think. I'm really, really curious if this guy really is innocent or was innocent. This was written in like the 1960s, I think. First published in 1970. Masters of the Macabre. And, so it has a bunch of short stories from Washington Irving, Charles Dickens, Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Louis Stevenson, Mark Twain, Bram Stoker, Thomas Hardy, other authors. So I just thought that would be a fun, maybe spookathon read, or just an October read in general. Night by Elie Wiesel, who was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and I believe he passed away recently. So this has to do with the author's experiences during the Holocaust, and I've heard it's a very sad read, of course, very difficult read, but nonetheless, I am looking forward to reading it because I believe that it is an important thing to have as much knowledge about as possible. And then from that same person, I also mooched The Icarus Girl by Helen I forget how other people have said this. Oyeyemi? She is an African author, Nigerian. And I have been wanting to check this out for a while, and I was glad that it finally popped up on Bookmooch. Born in Sin, which I had never heard of before, but I believe it is about a girl of color who is a swimmer in high school. I don't know much about it, but it had something to do with girls of color and athletics, and I was interested. I have been working on collecting this series by Margaret Peterson Haddix. It is the Missing series. She writes a lot of like dystopian YA. She has the Shadow Children series, which I've really enjoyed. So I've just been working on collecting all of these because I wanted to have them all before I tried to start reading them. The only problem is that I kind of just get whatever's available, and some are hardcover and some are paperback. but oh well, I can always replace, either the hardcovers or the paperback at some point. But this is books 4 and 5, Torn and Caught. So I think that might be all of them, but I have to double check and see if there's any more before I get started. I requested Post Birthday World by Lionel Shriver after Lauren and the Books. I think that's what her channel is. Lauren and the Books talked about this, and it sounded really different. American children's book illustrator Irina McGovern enjoys a secure, settled life in London with her smart, loyal, disciplined partner Lawrence, until the night she finds herself inexplicably drawn to kissing another man, a passionate, extravagant, top-ranked snooker player. Two competing alternate futures hinge on the single kiss, as Irina's decision to surrender to temptation or to preserve her seemingly safe partnership with Lawrence will have momentous consequences for her career, her friendship, and familiar relationships, and the texture of her daily life. So I believe from Lauren's explanation, it goes back and forth between these alternate futures, what could happen based on this decision. And this person that had this book also had Mama Day by Gloria Naylor, and I've not read anything by Gloria Naylor, and I want to, so I grabbed that as well. So those are those, and if you've read any of these books, or if you're interested in any of these books, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments, and I'd appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.